Hey guys, Lag Monster here, and today I want to show you guys a few tips and tricks to add a little more detail to your builds and really bring them to life. I was talking with some fellow crafters on Facebook the other day, and we got to talking about those little details, and well, let me show you what we kind of talked about. This particular one was about how to make this little stove smoker with the realistic smoke. You get the particles, it's looking good. This is actually really easy to build. We just break this out. All we have is a fireplace with a block on top. Any block, that smoke's going to go right through it. Right? We hide the fire. We got the stove or the smoker, whatever. And then we just made a little hood. That's just a fly up here. That's just a slab with a wall. We put a little sign there to kind of give it like a scoop. And there it is. And if we go outside, we even have a little chimney. And this chimney, that's just a campfire in there. So anyway, that got me to thinking. I'm betting there's other people that, could use to brush up on some little details like that. And I'm going to show you a few tips. Let's get into a few others. A house doesn't just have to be 4 walls and a bed. A bedroom's important, yes, but we also need places to relax. A nice fireplace, a little campfire, and a kitchen is always a nice touch to any home. If you're going to have a kitchen, you might as well have an oven. You could probably get more decorative than this, but this is just a very simple design. We have a working stove that's cooking something. We have our oven. We have a little bit of counter space. We have cabinets, and these are pretty simple. That's just a trapdoor. That is just an item frame, and that's just a barrel. They even function. You can actually use these cabinets and store your stuff in it. And you can get more inventive with these kind of cabinets. You don't even have to use trapdoors. You can use slabs as those handles. You can actually slap a sign on there as well. Some people like to do it like that. For me, it just depends on the build. Depends on what's going on with it. I do rather like how it kind of hides a little bit more of the handle. But even that, I think, just looks like, you got a nice cabinet door. So this is just your very basic chimney. I encourage you to be more creative with the shape, but it's just trapdoors surrounding a fire. Very simple, very easy to do on almost any build. Add it in, little chimney like that. Anyway, this is a big old chimney. This could be like for a forge or just maybe just a larger building in general. And underneath of it, a little trick to learn. Here, I will show you. If you take a campfire, you put it down, of course you're going to get your smoke. But if you put a hay bale underneath that campfire, that smoke is going to go a lot higher. And yes, I know, okay, just for sake of argument, we will put that at the same height. But you're going to see that smoke goes much, much higher. Look at that. This one. This is probably my favorite chimney design. That is a hopper mine cart on top of a fire with the trapdoors around it. It just gives it this really, really nice, chimney look. It looks great, especially from the ground. So let's say you have your chimney and you want to do that one right over there. You're going to put down your fire. I like to go ahead and put the trapdoors in now, but I leave them like that. Then you're just going to take any old block, you're going to put it over the fire, you're going to put on your rail, and you're going to put down your minecart with hopper. Just like that. Going to break that. That's going to drop it down, then we'll close our trapdoors, and voila. Okay, let's talk trapdoors. They are so useful in so many, many ways. Of course, I mean, they can be a trapdoor, but they can also be part of your roof. Maybe some wind blew some tiles off your roof. You had to patch it up. That's what these could be. We use them for shelves. Doesn't that look better than just a regular torch? I think that just adds a lot more life. I think it looks a lot better than a vanilla torch. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with a torch. I don't know. I think a lantern on a shelf looks better. And here we also have a trapdoor shelf with a nice little plant on, a little azalea here. I've used a trapdoor to put this chest on. You'll notice a lot of spruce trapdoors. They happen to be my favorite for most things. They can make a nice little end cap for like a post like that can be used for a ton of things. These ones are nice for like your attic vent, kind of like I have here. You know, I've got a little lean-to back here for the logs and, you know, trapdoors. Make a nice little lean-to roof. It's kind of thin, but it allows you to still contour it, give it a little bit of shape. You know, it's nice. I like to use them for railings. Here I've used birch trapdoors as windows. And, of course, the classic planter for your flowers. Of course, we can't talk about trapdoors without talking about shutters. Shutters are a great thing you can add to any house on the outside. It adds a little bit of texture to the wall. Try a bunch of different varieties. You never know which ones you might like. Speaking of things looking lived in, one thing that adds a lot more, I guess, variety to a build is the palette. I mean, you'll look here. It's not all cobblestone. I got some brick. I got some polished andesite. I have a few different blocks in this, and I've done that on purpose to kind of make it look weathered. Maybe a piece has had to be replaced here or there. This particular build is meant to be like a vanilla-ish build, so I tried to keep the block palette simple. But still, though, I tried to add some variety. Another thing that's really important is things like this stair. Kind of adds a little divot into the wall. There's one right there. There's another one here. We got a wall right here. They just add some texture, so not every single surface is like perfectly flat. You don't want to have that. You don't want to have that perfectly flat everywhere. It doesn't look interesting to the eye. You want things that are going to kind of draw the eye in. Another great thing to have in your house is something like this, a little potted plant. That is pretty easy to do. Of course, it's just a potted plant. And you put a little, this is a tree sapling. This one's an azalea. Yeah, we got a little flower in this one. But you're not limited to just that. You can really kind of expand on this idea. On this one, I have a dead bush. And on top of that, we have a leaf block to give it kind of like this taller plant. Same thing on this side, but this time I used that is an acacia sapling, I think, with a different kind of, I think that's a flowerless azalea right there. And don't be limited to just these kind of flower pots. You can expand on this. Look at this. This is just a copper slab. You put that leaf block on there, you throw a couple of vines on there. Suddenly you have a hanging plant. You hang it from a chain. Beautiful. Same thing over here. We have a little flowering azalea, potted plant. Little hanging plant. Looks nice. Of course, we have the classic, the little windowsill one right here. That, you can't go wrong with that. It looks nice. You can either just throw a little bone meal on there, get some grass and a couple flowers. You throw a couple flowers you really want on there. Either way, it's going to look good. So you can also use a composter. We just throw that down. We can throw down a spruce. You're gonna have to crouch, or you'll just throw it in the composter. Actually, that's another trick you can do too. You fill your composter up close, right about there, maybe a little more. We go a little higher. Yes, we get it right there. Then we put it on. Look at that. Now we can actually see the dirt in the pot. It's a beautiful potted plant. We can even go too high. Look at that. Look at that. Put that in the lobby of like your hotel or whatever. It would look great. Another great thing to do to add some great life and variety to your build is to landscape. And yeah, you can do it simply by just throwing down some bone meal, or you can choose to be a bit more deliberate. Examples of that would include things like this, using leaf blocks as bushes. They make a great bush for like the outside of your house, along the foundation. You can plant these flowers deliberately. You don't have to go by the flowers that automatically pop up at all. Another great thing is tiny little garden beds that you can put around your house, like this one right here. And adds a lot of variety in the backyard. It could be functional. You can actually, harvest this stuff, and you can make custom trees. Sometimes you can even make small ones like this tiny azalea. I actually used a fence post, dark oak. Yes, dark oak to use as the trunk for this thing. So yeah, a full log kind of looks funny when it's a smaller tree like this. So it's good to use like a fence post or something like that. I mean, compared to the Minecraft tree right here, it kind of looks stumpy, almost mushroomy. And then you got that big old stump down there. This tree is not much smaller. It looks a lot better with the fence post. Get creative with your lighting in your landscaping. This is just a fence post with a lantern, but it looks a whole lot better than a torch. It looks good. It's going to keep the monsters away, especially with the new spawning rules. It just looks a whole lot better. Another great and very simple landscaping trick is buttons. Buttons make great for little pebbles. You can just throw one here, throw one there. You can even throw in a blackstone one. It's like a dark rock. Yeah, just throw them here and about. I mean, we see rocks all the time on the ground, right? It makes sense. See a rock here, rock there. Perfect. I would argue you're even fine to throw a slab in here and there. Every once in a while. A nice little rock, like maybe tucked up against a hill. It doesn't look out of place to me. It looks like it's just there. It's just a rock. You can even make it flush with the ground if you want. Sometimes that, maybe even throw one of these on top. We'll turn it. We'll turn it. Bam. Another great thing in the landscaping vein is path work. Now, this is slightly customized. See, we don't have a perfectly straight path until you get over here, and even then we've thrown in a block or two just to break it up slightly, but we can do so much better than this. I mean, there's a couple things wrong with it. For one, we could definitely have a little more variety in the palette. Another thing, this full block drop. Why do I have to jump up this? We can definitely do better with that, too. Plus, if you look right here, you get this little pixel gap. Right there. That annoys me so much. I'm going to show you how to fix that, too. It's going to look really good when I'm done. So, first of all, let's decide on a block palette. We're obviously going to have some path blocks in here. We could keep something like this, a grass block, maybe with a little grass growing out of it. We have a coarse dirt right here. It's like a spot on the trail that is just kind of rough and doesn't feel like cooperating. And then one other thing I like to throw in here is either cobblestone, some regular stone, or some andesite. You don't have to throw in all three if you don't want to get crazy with your block palette, but I think it adds a lot. Personally, I like andesite. Throw in like a block maybe right here. Look at that. Just one. Maybe we put in one like right here. See, we don't want a lot, but it adds a little bit of variety. Now, we can take some regular grass. We're going to break up this one just a little, I think. We'll go there. And we'll bop that. We'll take that down there, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. So I'm not a big fan of these whole block jumps. I don't like it. I actually don't even like straight edges that are that long. So what we're going to do, we're just going to grab an oak slab, and we're going to slap it here in the corners. Just like that. Now, addressing this is annoying. This little pixel block, we're going to break it, and we just put in an oak block underneath. There, we'll just break it out. We'll put them back. Beautiful. It hides that little one pixel. It looks a lot better this way, I think. And you know, we can do this. You can do the same thing over here, like with these stairs. You have the same problem. You can just break it and throw in that to just cover up that little gap. It's the little details like that. Little details. See, I've already done it over here. Looks a whole lot better. Now see here we have a very simple path that's a lot more interesting to look at. We're going to throw in one over here, actually. That's where we need it. We need it right there. It's a whole lot more interesting to look at than that really, really boring path we had before. Okay, let's talk about lighting. Lighting does not always have to be just a torch. This is very simple. It's just a fence post and a lantern, and it looks a lot better than a torch if you ask me. You can put lanterns on shelves, made out of trapdoors, of course. You can put lanterns on a bedside table, like this barrel. You could set them on the post of a railing, or perhaps suspend them by a chain from your awning. You might even make them kind of fancy for inside your house. Either way, lighting doesn't have to be as brutish and as simple as just a torch. And even a torch has a really cool way to make it look great. We can do a torch. Pretty simple, right? Or, another thing you could do is we could set this item frame here. Now, what we're going to aim for just outside the item frame on the edge of the block to set our torch down. Look at that. Now, we can take another block and stick it in the item frame. It depends on how I want to make it look. You can throw a whole block in there, just like this. Kind of looks like a sconce holding it, and you can rotate the block if you want. Make it look like that. It looks pretty cool. You can also use a slab. I like the slab just like that. I personally like this one myself. I think it kind of looks like it wraps around the torch and holds it. You can also use a stair. Some people like the stair. Put it that way. There you go. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. But I think it looks a whole lot better than just simply a torch. Look at that. Which one do you want in your castle? I think I want this one. These lights you see here are really simple. It is just a lantern and some signs around it. That's it. So the lamp you saw inside is just a lantern. So that light you saw inside is just a lantern. And then we just put some signs around it. And you could even put words or characters on this sign to kind of decorate it. Whatever you want to do. But the simplest form is that. You can also suspend that from a chain. That is, of course, another option for you. Either way, it's a cool looking light. Another really nice looking light is you suspend it from a chain. You throw a piece of wool on there. Then your lantern. You'll need a tall, relatively tall ceiling for this one. This looks kind of weird right now, I know, but bear with me. So then you would take some banners. We're going to say some black ones. I like black and red. Pretty cool combo. But we're going to have to break that. Yeah. And look at that. It's a pretty cool little light. Of course, you could always make, you could make the banners match the color. It can be a mix-up. It's entirely up to you. You do it like that. Yeah, look at that. Looks pretty cool. 3 pretty simple light designs. It's not going to take much work for you to do in survival. And of course, you can, do this in creative. So, meh. Anybody who's doing creative building or survival building or whatever you're trying to do, you want to make it look pretty, you want to make it look good. You want to add these kind of life to your builds. Remember that the only limitation you have is your imagination. This adds so much character to this. It's just 3 barrels, just facing different directions. We have the wood pile. We have logs kind of facing in different directions. Then we took some campfires and we just put them out with a shovel. And it looks like, logs ready that are already split. We have a couple right there. We have the fire right here. It's not lit. We have the log we split our logs with. These chairs, that's just a stair. Slapped a couple signs on the side. Looks like a nice little chair. Using a piece of scaffolding like this, just as a table. I mean, it's already basically a table. Looks exactly like a table. You can still build these kind of tables. The vanilla table there's nothing wrong with it. I just personally think that for certain applications, I think a piece of scaffolding looks really good. You can make couches with different stone stairs, different wood stairs. Throw a couple of signs on the sides. And there you go. We've got a few more examples of some cabinets in here. We've got some logs for the fire ready to go there. We also have another kind of light source here, candles. I think candles just in general just add to the mood of a room. I think they look really nice. Another really, really simple interior hack that you can do. So here we have a rug, right? This is just carpet. We can make that from wool. But if you really want to make this pop and make it look good, carpets can be multi-dimensional. Adds a little more, depth to it. I know it doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't have to. Look at that. Doesn't that little bit of texture just make the carpet look so much better? Now, if you want to level this up, you can take a coral block. It doesn't even have to be that. You could use white wool, gray wool, whichever. And then you're going to want to take a coral fan. I actually like to grab a couple different ones. We're just going to kind of smatter them about here. And here we have a nice little shag carpet. Doesn't that look great? I think it looks beautiful. I might actually leave it in this house. Look at that. Now, another tip that I think is invaluable, that I think really brings anybody's building ability to the next level, if they commit to it, and, well, of course you practice. You've got to practice. The only way you're going to get good is if you practice. You got to practice. But if you really want to bring your builds to another level, with that practice, use references. Don't be afraid to use references. Real life, what does they say? Art imitates life? Whatever. Regardless. Don't be afraid to do a Google search. Look up some houses. Take a walk around your neighborhood. Find a house you like. Go look at those houses. When do you see really, perfectly symmetrical houses? You don't. It's just not that common. Sometimes you get stuff like that. Other times you get things like this. There's no shame in using references. It's a smart way. It's a smart way to get better at your building. And that's going to give your buildings that feeling of life, because it's going to be things that you recognize. Shapes, that you recognize from your everyday life, and the world you live in will be brought into the game, and it's going to feel more real. I promise you. Alright, my friends, the bonus tip of the day is, well, subscribe to me so you get more tips when I drop videos like this. Duh. So that's what you should do. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video, if you want me to do some more. And hey, if you've got a tip or two, drop it down there. Get in the comments. Get in the comments. I want to hear from you. Tell me any of your cool Minecraft tricks. Alrighty then, gang. Until next time, bye-bye. Building stuff and it is super fun.